Imagine this. Studies reveal that the average person spends nearly 3 hours a day procrastinating. That's over 1,000 hours a year lost to laziness. Think about that for a second. You could use that time to learn a new skill, start a side business, or even transform your physical health. Yet, for most of us, those hours vanish, wasted in the haze of scrolling through social media or binge-watching TV shows. But what if I told you that laziness isn't just about being inactive? It's a deeper challenge that can be overcome with the right strategies. In today's video, we'll break down 7 powerful hacks that will help you stop laziness in its tracks and get stuff done. These aren't just fleeting tips. They are scientifically backed strategies that tap into your psychology, rewire your habits, and give you the momentum you need to break free from procrastination once and for all. Laziness can feel like an invisible enemy, always lurking, always ready to pull us away from the things we truly care about. It starts small. I'll do it tomorrow, or just one more episode, but over time, it creeps into every part of our lives, turning productive mornings into hours of endless distraction and small tasks into impossible mountains. We all experience it. The question is, how do we beat it? Most people think of laziness as a lack of willpower, but it's much more complex than that. Laziness is a natural part of being human, a defense mechanism against discomfort and overexertion. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So, when faced with a challenging task, it's easier for us to delay it than to dive in headfirst. But here's the good news. Laziness isn't something you're stuck with forever. It's not a permanent state. It's a habit. And habits, as any life coach will tell you, can be changed. You have the power to transform how you approach work, life, and even your free time. In this video, we'll explore 7 proven strategies that are designed to combat laziness and unleash your full potential. These strategies are rooted in science, stoicism, mindfulness, and self-discipline. Principles that have helped millions of people around the world take control of their lives. We live in a world full of distractions. Every day, we're bombarded with notifications, advertisements, and endless streams of information. It's no wonder that laziness and procrastination are at an all-time high. When was the last time you sat down to complete a task without your phone buzzing or a sudden urge to check your email? This constant flood of distractions makes it harder for us to stay focused and productive. Laziness creeps in when we're overwhelmed or when the tasks ahead seem too daunting. It often leads to feelings of guilt, anxiety, and even low self-esteem. We tell ourselves we'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. And soon, weeks or even months have passed, and we're no closer to our goals. But what makes laziness so destructive isn't just the time we lose. It's the opportunities we miss. The longer we let laziness take control, the further we drift from our dreams, and the more we convince ourselves that we're incapable of achieving them. Laziness robs us of the sense of fulfillment that comes from finishing a task, reaching a goal, or creating something meaningful. And over time, it can even start to affect our mental health, leading to a cycle of procrastination, guilt, and self-doubt. So how do we break free? By understanding that laziness isn't something we need to beat ourselves up about, but rather something we can overcome with the right tools. The 7 hacks we're going to discuss are not about forcing yourself to work harder. They're about working smarter, rethinking how you approach your daily routine, and making small changes that can have a massive impact on your productivity and happiness. The foundation of overcoming laziness is rooted in goal setting, but not just any goals, clear, specific, actionable goals. It's easy to feel overwhelmed or unmotivated when our goals are vague or overly broad. Saying, "I want to be more productive," is like trying to navigate without a map. Where do you start? How do you measure progress? Instead, you need to narrow your focus. I will write 500 words by noon, or I will declutter my kitchen today. Starting with the countertops, this is where the magic happens. When you set a goal that is specific and time-bound, you activate a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning and decision-making. This clarity gives you direction and purpose. You're no longer wandering through your day aimlessly. You have a target to aim for. Here's the kicker. Achieving even the smallest goal releases dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. It feels good to cross something off your to-do list, and that feeling creates a positive feedback loop. The more goals you complete, the more motivated you become to tackle the next one. And slowly, you build momentum. Take inspiration from the world of minimalism and essentialism. Minimalists set goals not just to get more done, but to focus on what truly matters. By prioritizing tasks that align with your values, you eliminate the noise and clutter of unnecessary activities, which often fuel laziness. The same goes for intentional living. When you have a clear sense of purpose and direction, it's easier to avoid distractions and stick to your goals. Once your goals are in place, it's time to create a schedule that supports them. Without a structured routine, it's easy to drift from one task to another, falling prey to distractions. Think about your day as a series of blocks, each block dedicated to a specific task. This is where time management comes into play. But creating a schedule isn't just about listing tasks. It's about creating a realistic, manageable plan that takes into account your energy levels and natural rhythms. Are you a morning person? Then schedule your most important tasks for the first few hours of the day. Are you more productive in the afternoon? Shift your priorities accordingly. A crucial element to remember is buffer time. No day goes perfectly to plan, and unexpected things will always pop up. By allowing for buffer time between tasks, you reduce the risk of overwhelm and burnout. And here's where the power of a schedule really kicks in. Accountability. When you create a schedule, you're setting an agreement with yourself to follow through. It's a form of self-discipline, much like the Stoic principles that teach us to control what we can and accept what we cannot. If you respect your schedule, you build a habit of consistency. And consistency, over time, leads to mastery. Laziness thrives in environments full of distractions. Whether it's the constant ding of your phone, the lure of social media, or the never-ending list of emails, distractions are productivity killers. To overcome laziness, you need to create a space, both physically and mentally, that supports focus. Start by decluttering your workspace. A cluttered environment leads to a cluttered mind, making it harder to concentrate. This is where the principles of simple living and minimalism come into play. Clear away the excess. Keep only what's essential in front of you. This not only reduces distractions, but also gives you a sense of mental clarity and control. But physical distractions are only half the battle. You also need to manage the digital distractions that pull you away from your work. Turn off notifications, use website blockers to prevent mindless browsing, and limit your social media usage during work hours. You can also try tools like the Pomodoro technique, working in 25-minute bursts with short breaks in between. This method helps keep your brain focused while preventing burnout. Distraction is often just laziness in disguise. By creating an environment that minimizes distractions, you're making it easier for your brain to stay on task and resist the pull of procrastination. Let's take a moment to really dive into the Pomodoro technique, because this is one of the most effective hacks you'll ever encounter. Developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s, the Pomodoro technique is all about breaking your work into manageable chunks. You work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 cycles, you take a longer break, usually around 15 to 30 minutes. Here's why it works. Our brains are wired to focus in short bursts. If you try to work for hours on end without a break, your concentration and productivity will plummet. But when you work in focused 25-minute sessions, you're not only more productive, you're also less likely to experience mental fatigue. But there's more to this technique than just time management. It's about commitment. When you set a timer for 25 minutes, you're telling yourself, I can focus for this short period. It reduces the mental resistance you might feel toward a task because it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And the best part? Over time, those 25-minute sessions add up. You'll find that you can accomplish far more in a series of focused Pomodoros than you ever could by working in long, unfocused stretches. The root cause of laziness often comes down to a lack of self-discipline. While motivation is fleeting and can change day by day, Self-discipline is a reliable, long-term strategy that helps you push through challenges even when you don't feel like it. But how do you build self-discipline when laziness feels like it's constantly pulling you back? First, it's crucial to understand that self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. When you push yourself to complete tasks even when you're tired, bored, or simply unmotivated, you're strengthening your ability to resist temptation and stay on track. This process is uncomfortable at first, but over time, it becomes second nature. A powerful way to build self-discipline is to start with small wins. For example, if you're struggling to exercise daily, start with just 5 minutes. That's all. The key is to make the task so small that laziness has no excuse to stop you. Once you've done 5 minutes, it's easier to stretch that into 10, then 15, and so on. The same goes for any goal, whether it's writing, reading, or even decluttering your home. Small, consistent steps lead to big results. Here's where the principle of frugal living can come in handy. People who practice frugal living understand the value of delayed gratification. They don't chase after every fleeting desire. Instead, they practice restraint and focus on long-term goals. In the same way, self-discipline is about resisting the short-term comfort of laziness in favor of long-term achievement. By aligning your actions with your bigger life goals, you make the practice of self-discipline easier, as each task feels meaningful. It's also helpful to create systems of accountability. Tell a friend about your goals, or even better, create a challenge with someone else. When you know someone is counting on you or checking in on your progress, you'll find it much harder to give in to laziness. This is why accountability groups or productivity partners are so effective. They push you to maintain your discipline even on tough days. Self-discipline doesn't mean you never take breaks or enjoy downtime. In fact, scheduling breaks and moments of relaxation is essential to avoiding burnout. The difference is that these breaks are intentional and earned, not the result of giving in to distractions or laziness. Laziness often strikes when a task seems too big to handle. You look at your to-do list and see write a 10-page report or clean the entire house, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed. When the task ahead feels like a mountain, procrastination becomes the easy way out. But here's the hack. Instead of focusing on the mountain, focus on the first step. Breaking tasks into smaller, bite-sized pieces is one of the most effective ways to fight laziness. Let's say you need to clean the house. Instead of thinking about the entire task, break it down. First, I'll start with just the kitchen counters, or I'll spend 15 minutes organizing the living room. By zooming in on a small, manageable part of the task, you reduce the mental resistance that causes laziness in the first place. This concept is rooted in the psychological principle known as the Zeigarnik effect, which states that once we start a task, our brains become preoccupied with completing it. When you break a large task into smaller chunks and start working on the first piece, you activate this effect. Your brain gets hooked on the idea of finishing what you've started, and before you know it, you're making more progress than you ever imagined. The principle of essentialism also plays a role here. Essentialism is about focusing on the most important tasks that will yield the highest results, rather than getting bogged down by unimportant details. When you break down tasks, prioritize the pieces that will move you closer to your goal. For instance, if you're working on a big project, identify the key parts that require your immediate attention and start there. You don't need to do everything at once, just the essential steps that get the ball rolling. Over time, you'll discover that breaking tasks down doesn't just make them more manageable, it also builds your confidence. Each small win gives you a sense of accomplishment and momentum, which reduces the grip of laziness. By consistently completing smaller tasks, you create a habit of productivity, and suddenly, even the biggest challenges feel less intimidating. This might be the most important hack of all. Why are you doing what you're doing? If you don't have a clear reason or purpose behind your actions, laziness will always find a way to creep in. The truth is, people are much more likely to stay committed to tasks and goals that resonate with their deeper values and aspirations. This is where intentional living comes into play. Intentional living means aligning your daily actions with your long-term values and goals. It's about creating a life that reflects who you truly are, rather than just going through the motions. When you're clear on your why, it becomes easier to stay motivated, even when things get tough. Let's say you're struggling to work on a project. Ask yourself, why is this important to me? What bigger goal is this contributing to? Maybe the project will help you develop new skills that are crucial for your career. Maybe it will bring you one step closer to financial freedom. Or maybe it's a creative outlet that allows you to express yourself in meaningful ways. Whatever the reason, connecting to your purpose is a powerful motivator. This is also where the concepts of slow living and simple living can help. Slow living encourages us to take a step back and focus on the things that truly matter, rather than rushing through life chasing meaningless tasks. By slowing down and focusing on what's essential, you can identify your core motivations and create a life filled with purpose. Simple living, on the other hand, teaches us to eliminate the unnecessary distractions and obligations that drain our energy, allowing us to focus on the things that bring us fulfillment. To find your why, try this exercise. Ask yourself why 5 times in a row. For example, if your goal is to start exercising more, ask yourself, why do I want to exercise more? The answer might be, to be healthier. Then ask, why do I want to be healthier? And so on. This process helps you dig deeper into your motivations, uncovering the real reasons behind your goals. When you know your why, laziness becomes less powerful. You're no longer just doing tasks for the sake of doing them. You're working towards something that matters deeply to you. This sense of purpose fuels your drive, keeps you focused, and helps you overcome the temptation to procrastinate. Laziness is not something that defines who you are. It's a temporary state that can be overcome with the right strategies. By setting specific goals, creating a schedule, eliminating distractions, and breaking tasks down, you're taking control of your time and energy. By mastering self-discipline, using techniques like Pomodoro, and connecting to your deeper why, you're building a life of intention and purpose, one that leaves little room for laziness to take hold. Remember, the goal isn't to be productive for the sake of productivity. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values and brings you closer to your dreams. Laziness will always try to pull you away from that. But with these 7 hacks, you have the tools to fight back and reclaim your time. So, which of these hacks will you start using today? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more actionable insights on how to live a more intentional, productive, and fulfilling life.